wonderful webinar. This week, we have a wonderful guest on again. She is somewhat of a genius. She has spent many years spending a lot of money on personal growth, understanding sales and advertising, and personal development and all sorts of sales skills. She's the foundation behind the Sorul Success Planner. That's a lot of that is Linda. It's just remarkable what she's done. And she's got a wonderful heart and a wonderful mind. And she's somewhat of a genius, and she sees things very logical, but at the same time, has got such a big heart and empathy and love for all of us. So with no more to say, Linda, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, Ian Davies. A lovely introduction as always.
Well, we have a lovely guest today, and that's you. So Linda, I'll pass it to you to kind of structure what you want to go, and then you can pass it back to me as you wish if you want me to interact.
Yes, for sure. Yep, absolutely. So I guess today we're going to be talking a little bit about some sales training concepts. So as Mark said, I've invested quite a lot in going along and I guess personal development, which I found really instrumental in building my role as a leader and coming up into president's level into Sorul. I'm very much very keen to see what goes on in my own mind and what blocks come up, and then to really just go and have those sorted out. So I invest quite a lot in sort of kinesiology and courses. And so one of the courses I've kind of looked at have also include sales training. So one of the things I've noticed about myself is that I have naturally really good sales skills, and I think I got that from my dad. My dad was a great person with sales, and I used to travel around in his truck when I was a toddler selling nutritional supplements to farmers around this area, and I think that probably had a big effect on me nutritionally, and I guess just learning how to connect with people, having enough of a conversation with people so that you have enough information. Because sometimes, and I heard it yesterday, someone said something about a new IBO of theirs, and that they'd talked to 12 people who were interested, and they'd sent out information, and it's been a couple of weeks and nothing's come together. And one of the things I always say to that, and I go, it's interesting, if that was 12 people who had told me they were interested and I'd sent information, the bulk of them would be in the system by now, because there's a whole sequence of things that really good natural salespeople automatically do. So I've been interested to actually study that sales psychology, because I think when you're on the inside of everything kind of going, how come people can't do what I do? And relying on a group of IBOs building who naturally have skills isn't really kind of duplicatable. And I think it's about time we start talking about what skills are actually potentially missing for some people. So what I'm going to talk about today is just a snapshot of a concept that came to mind that would be good to talk about after our last webinar when we were talking about handling objections. And one of the questions that came in at the end of the webinar was around kind of cost. And I sort of went, well, once somebody really values the product and the role of the product in their life, and they can see the benefits for themselves, then cost becomes more of a black and white kind of subject. It doesn't become part of their instant resistance mechanism, etc., because they've been engaged and you've taken enough time to see where that person is coming from, where they're at, and qualifying them as to whether they're really ready to commit to taking enough product and taking it long enough. Because people who've ever worked with me personally will know if someone just said to me, oh, I'll try a bottle, I won't even entertain it, because what happens if this one bottle that they have in their hands is actually the answers to some of their significant degeneration, if we're talking about stem enhance? And yet I know better than anyone that it's about taking enough for the size, the age and the degeneration in your body, and taking it for long enough. So in some ways the worst thing someone can kind of do is just go, oh yeah, give it a go and see how you're going, because you're setting up the expectation that some of the results that we see, people are going to see it in one bottle. And it kind of makes me want to tear my hair out because it's kind of sad. It's sad for that person. And then it's very frustrating for the IBO that's trying to build auto ship base in their business, and they're actually creating the whole thing just never getting any traction because of maybe they have certain issues and possibly not enough confidence and skills. So I think one thing that's really important to do if you're not getting the results that you're looking for is to really study your own sales process, and you need to really ask yourself, what skills do you need and where can you find the answers, and to ask yourself, do you want to find the answers? Because some people are very much stuck in the story, particularly with network marketing. Oh, this is just like the last time I tried to do something, and etc. And they're actually using their current experience to reinforce something that happened to them last year or 10 years ago, when really we're about living right here and now and moving forward and creating a new experience, a new level of skills, confidence and experience. And if that isn't coming together for you, there are so many resources out there that you can start tapping into. And sometimes it's about just committing to once, twice a week, a little bit every day, to your own personal development and your own understanding. So there are awesome resources out there. I know one that I listened to a number of years ago now that I still recommend to people is the Tim Sales training. And if anyone's ever listened to some of Tim's first experiences, this is a man who came into network marketing and could really see the possibility of changing his whole life, but he had a stutter and he didn't talk to people very well, and he had a really long kind of pitch about his product and he couldn't bring it all together, and he got a teddy bear and he put it on a chair and he videoed himself, I guess, just doing an introduction to whatever it is he was working with, etc. And he coached himself to the level of success where he could connect with people, get enough information like we're going to talk about today. And to me, that just shows a lot of tenacity. And for some people out there, it's going to take that level of inquiry and study of themselves, and recognizing that if they're really not getting the traction they're looking for, to actually come back and investigate their own skill set and invest in building their own skill set. So for myself, I could see that I didn't have a very good skill set around teaching sort of sales training, because I sort of just went like, well, how come you all don't ask enough questions? So I've got something to present today in order to help that. And it's about you kind of taking parts of this and integrating it into, what you say and do. And I'd very much today, if I talk about it in an area to do with sort of sales and part of the process, if you kind of go, oh my goodness, that I just don't do that, well, really take a note of it and start practicing it and add those pieces together, because sometimes people have done just about everything kind of right, but they haven't, for some reason, just connected some of the dots. So we'll talk about what those dots might be today. And we'll also, I guess it's a good time to remind people, because what I see consistently with people that aren't actually getting the orders coming together is they're not asking for the sale. So I'll talk a little bit about it with the sales grid. But what I say to people after I've gone through things, I'm just like, is this something that you'd like to try in your life? Is this the type of business that you're looking for? And then people straight away are going to tell you exactly where they're at. They're going to say, yeah, like how do I get started? And then that you don't have to say anything else, because remember, sometimes you can talk someone into a sale and talk them out of it. So if they're ready to go in the system, you get them into the system. Don't try and make up objections for them, and move forward from there. So I wanted to make sure I really reiterated that, because if you are like the lady I heard about yesterday and you've got product information or business information out to 5-12 people and you feel like you've had a really good engagement, one thing you could really do in the next 24 hours is just go back and ask them where they're at with it all. Yeah, because often people will say to me, I just don't know where they're at. And I'm like, why don't you ask where they're at? And they'll say, look, I'm in the middle of building building a new house, I think it's something I should really take for myself. And from a business point of view, I just can't take anything on, for another 6 months. And then you know exactly where they're at. They can come into the system as a preferred customer, and you know that, in 6 months' time to kind of follow them up and see where they're at as far as looking at a business. It's all kind of quite common sense, but it's amazing sometimes how much when I come in and analyze a scenario that's going on through people, it is just dots that aren't connected. So I guess you would agree with all that, Ian. Have you got any general kind of insights before we get started?
No, absolutely. It's funny. So many people have resistance because they just don't understand. And once we can educate them and we can understand what they have here, it just lowers the resistance. Wow, it's very different to what I thought. I just spoke to a guy in the States on Sunday a couple of days ago. And he said, oh, I worked network marketing before. I used to take people to meetings. I used to sign up, but they all fell apart and I had to push them all the time to be involved. And, oh, no, network marketing, I've got a terrible taste in my mouth. And I came back and said, look, we have life-changing products here. I focus people where they're at. If I can change their lives with the product, very often those people tap me on the shoulder later and say, hey, Ian, I love this. Can I be involved in your network marketing? And it's very organic and natural. And so it really limited his reservation. He said, wow, this is something I may want to be involved in. It changed that preconceived idea he had from his past experience.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very, very well put. And I really do think that that's part of the culture that that we help kind of set within Sarul as well, that but people with previous network marketing experience really kind of enjoy, that we just follow the energy and work with where people are at, because otherwise you add to that story of, I brought all these people along, they didn't do anything. Well, how come you're not qualifying them as to actually if they're interested in building a business or if they just want to take the product? So once again, you become, the creator of your own story, because it's more of a, oh, let's just kind of grab and connect and not build relationships and understand people we're at and look at where we're really spending our time and energy. It becomes, oh, well, we'll just give all this a go. And then you just get, I've given this all a go kind of results. And there's nothing particularly logical in that, hey? Yeah. Okay, so I'll get Mark Anderson, please, to load up the sales grid with the words in it. So these grids are available. They're currently being loaded to the Facebook group off Mark's phone, and they have been emailed out. And so this is just some information that I put together, and I talked with John Kennedy in New Zealand last year, and I am going to recommend for people, and if you naturally kind of do this, to actually think about using this and this video content as training to help people who don't naturally have those skills, because you can have this grid laminated on your desk, and then we have a blank grid where you can fill in the information. And what I'd like to say is that if you're on a phone call or you're connecting with someone and you come back and you're only writing about 3 bits of information in the grid, that unless someone's like a really gut feeling purchaser and it's not coming together, you haven't built enough understanding, connection and value of the product. So today I'm going to present this specifically around getting preferred customers, and I'll just relate it to STEM Enhance Ultra, but of course it can be related to all the products and the skincare, and it can very much be related to the business. And actually this concept can be related to anywhere in your life when you're trying to come to a purchasing agreement, with your partner, etc., about, trying to find what it is you want that actually meets your needs. So if we come through it, yeah, it's one thing I want to say, it's not, these are all prompts and ideas. So I'm just going to talk about it, and just know that when I actually do this in person, it's kind of fluid and we might bounce around things, but by the end of it, I have a real picture of where someone's at, so that when they are ready to order. Oh, Sue Birch is saying it's very blurry. That's unfortunate. So I'm going to talk through it, and then I can flick you an email afterwards with the the grids in it as well. That by the time I'm talking to someone at the end and they're saying that this is something that they're interested in, I know enough about where they're at and where they want to be in order for me to actually recommend things like a wellness pack. Because sometimes that's the other thing that happens, is someone gets someone all the way through to ordering and just goes, oh, why don't you just try 2 capsules a day? And, you know, they might be a 6'4", you know, a farmer who's been farming for decades and, you know, riddled with degeneration, and you need to be able to have enough content as well to go with that. Okay, so once you've made a connection with someone and they're ready to sort of talk about these products and their lives as a consumer, and that's a whole other thing as to how long that might actually take. You might plant seeds, etc. But once someone's wanting to talk about having the products in their life, it could be a really good idea to talk about what's going on in their life and what their concerns are. So these are the things that can be written down in the left-hand side of the grid. And it's just to prompt you to sort of get a real, you know, what else is going on and what else is going on in people's lives. And then there's the question here under evidence that we relate back to this list, saying, what do you see, feel, or hear that makes you believe this is a problem? Now, you don't necessarily say it kind of in those words. These are prompts, but it's like, oh, so how does this kind of turn up in your life? Oh, well, every time I go to get out of bed, you know, my feet are sore and I'm really stiff, etc. So that you're connecting the person with what they're talking about, you know, rather than someone just saying, oh, I think I've got joint issues. How do those joint issues turn up in their life? Because they might go, you know, I can't mow the lawns anymore. I can't drive certain vehicles. I can't play games with my grandchildren in the backyard, etc. So you're connecting them with actually how this turns up in their life and what the cost of that is in their life. Because when people can sort of see and take a moment to see the effect of something in their life, they're more likely to value an answer. You know, otherwise just going, oh, I think I've got joint issues, and you're going, oh, we've got stuff for joints, except, yeah, sure you get what I mean. And so the question underneath that is, what is the cost of this problem in your life? And so particularly with tradespeople, so we had carpet laid in a property that's getting sold last week, and I mean, I already have the carpet layer on a wellness pack, you know, because he's 35 years old, his knees are starting to go. And I talked to him about how does he kind of see the effect that this is going to have on his future. And he's like, well, Linda, really, I just thought I'd be a carpet layer forever, and I've been doing it for 15 years, but now how am I going to get to 50, let alone 65, etc. So straight away, he starts to see the cost of this problem. This problem could cost him having to go and study or develop a different line of work, etc., when really he's just actually, he loves working for himself and just going out and transforming people's homes. And then I would have talked to him along the results. So I sort of said, you know, well, what would you be looking for? He said, I don't expect it necessarily all to go away. I've given my body a hard time, but I'd really like to sort of feel, you know, at the end of the day that I could still go to the gym, because he does a lot of upper body weight building work, etc., without my lower body giving out on me. So it's like, cool. So we know where he wants to head to. And how would you value that in your life? And so someone will then go, well, I actually feel like I would have my life back. And, you know, people will expand on that if they have had, you know, if they're not able to, you know, play with their grandchildren. If you can connect someone with, you know, potentially getting enough movement and reduced inflammation that they can play with their grandchildren, that to that person is possibly priceless. So that right all the way through here, we're handling and grooming someone towards something like a wellness pack, which of course I love because it's getting enough product into someone for them to have an effect. And then coming up to the top of the chart, it says time. And it's written here. So if I could provide you a solution that solves this problem or helps with this problem, etc., targets this problem, when would you want to get started? So you in the moment might not use these words, but it's to remind you to sort of start asking for the sale and start to see when someone would want to get started. And I see myself kind of getting this into conversations with people, because for some people they might go, I'm already committed to sort of taking something else, but I really feel like it's not working and I'm ready to transition. Or they might have had some particularly big bills, and people have often said to me things like, actually I have good cash flow for this, but I actually don't have that cash flow for 6 weeks because I'm helping my daughter with the university fees or something like that. So you start sort of knowing that about the person already. So suddenly it doesn't become a reason why they don't come into the system, because you might just need to know that they're going to come into the system in 6 weeks' time. And it's a bit like what Ian was saying before, when he was talking about, just getting people on the product, changing their lives, and then them going, hey, can I join you in your business? People just love that lack of pressure and love you connecting with them and knowing where they're at and just saying, that's really cool. I know I've had that within some of my own conversations in the last week, where I know exactly where that person is at around timing now, and it's written in my diary, and I'm like, cool, I'll be contacting you about them. So kind of common sense, but if you're not allowing for that within your conversations, it can become the end of the ability of someone getting into the system, because you're not just reassuring them and giving them space to live their life and make their decisions. Right, and then around budget. So someone might kind of have a lot of attention on cost. So these are questions to sort of help you with that. So do you have a budget to work with on this problem? Yes or no, because someone might just go, well, yeah, I really know that I've only got such and such spare each month. Okay, and then straight away you can reference that. You might sort of think, well, great, that's going to cover a couple of bottles of Stem Enhancer. Maybe we'll just have to leave something like Sciactic Joint or Plasma Flow for a bit. Or someone might go, actually no, because unfortunately for a lot of people, until they really value the product and the benefits of the product and what's going on in their body, they can just have this knee-jerk reaction around cost. And it's a really big issue in the Australian and New Zealand culture. I don't know how it is perhaps in other cultures, but it just becomes this knee-jerk thing. As soon as someone hasn't really kind of got what you're talking about and what you're offering, they'll just go, oh, the cost. And I have had people who it's obvious they have ample sort of cash flow, but there's something they haven't quite understood, and that comes up there. So it's a matter of coming and working out what information hasn't come together. And there's this lovely prompt here. If they want to know the cost of the solution, well, based on my experience, and this is something I do heaps, and I go, well, based on my experience, when you've had this level of wear and tear going on in your body, and you've been working really hard, and now you're in your whatever age, 50s, 60s and 70s, really, there's quite a lot of catch up your body needs to do, eh? And then I kind of go, oh, yeah, you're right, Linda, it's, there's a bit of catch up needed. So I said, really, you need to take enough in order to mobilize the resources to help your body maintain its daily renewal and repair. And you're going to need a bit extra to help with the catch up. So what I found is that most adults do really well on 2 capsules twice a day. If you've got more going on than average, we make it 6. If you're in a pickle, we make it 9. And if you're munted, which is one of our special New Zealand terms, we'll make it 12. And I personally use this all the time, because straight away that person in front of me goes, yeah, definitely got more going on than average. Or they go, you know what, I am in a bit of a pickle, and they start deciding for themselves how much they're going to purchase. And they go, from what you've said, I really feel like I need to be on a few bottles a month, etc. and that's how a lot of that flows for me. And what I would say to people who aren't Linda Hoggard is to really reference myself or someone else that you've seen in the business, or a way that something is what we'd call edified, and refer to that person. So I have, most of my team would go, oh, well, we have a naturopath that's been involved heavily with these products since the original version. And what she would say is that most adults do really well on 2 capsules twice a day. If they have more going on than average, she makes it 6. If they're in a pickle, she makes it 9. And really, if they're munted, got a lot going on and need as much help as quickly as possible, she'll start low and build them up to 12 a day. And that works brilliantly, because the product always needs understanding and edification. And so our scientists like Gita Jensen help really land that, and you can outsource to that and use the harvest video, etc. And then when we're talking about serving suggestions, you can say, well, this is what I've learned from someone who's really experienced. And straight away, you just have to become the messenger. You have to get enough information, bring it all together, and then kind of get someone in the system, preferably on auto ship, because really it's all about auto ship. John Kennedy has a fantastic saying around auto ship, and I think it's quoted in the Success Planner. And really, when you think about it, the success of getting the resources into your body and seeing some of those long-term benefits of the products, you land that on auto ship. And when you're looking at creating an independent income from this product, a lot of that is definitely all added on auto ship, that you just know every month that there's the standard amount of volume coming through your business. And it's up to you to create that and create that culture. Because if your IBOs see you just going, oh, well, if you don't want to commit, just buy a couple of bottles, etc. If that's that culture that you create, they're just going to repeat it. So I see in my business, I hear people saying to me, well, I know you wouldn't just let them do that. So I really held to my ground and kind of reinforced the benefits for them with this product and the amount to take, and really ask them to commit to 6 to 8 months. So not only just asking for the sale, but also asking for the commitment. I've got one more box. Okay, so it's around decision making. So this doesn't always kind of come up, but you can see sometimes people, they're quite keen, but they're dancing around, and it can be helping them to actually make the decision. So there's some prompts here like help me understand how you make decisions. So I see sometimes when I'm purchasing, particularly around nutritionals, I make decisions off my gut feeling. It's exactly what happened when I first saw the original Stem Enhance. I just had a really good gut feeling, and I needed to have my own experiences, and then my mind had time to watch video content and read things and catch up. But not everybody is like that. And then, so that question can help you see that, because someone might just go, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I just never seem to be able to commit to something until I have all the information. So right there, you've got what we would call like a green personality, and you know exactly what you need to do. You need to find out what type of information they're looking for. Do they need to eyeball the published research article, etc.? Do they just really need to see the product fact sheets, etc., and get that through to them, and then follow up and then ask for the sale? Other questions there are, what is your decision-making process? Because we've just covered that. How do you make decisions? And then this is often the issue of someone's dancing around. Are you the decision maker? Because if you're talking to someone that runs their lives in a partnership and no financial purchase decisions are made unless the other partner is involved, then you kind of need to know that. And then it lets you know that perhaps you need to talk to the partner or provide information for the partner. So I guess I would then kind of go, do you think, your partner would like to kind of speak to me, or is it that they just want to what is it that you think that they would want to check out? And then you can provide that rather than getting all the way to the person's really keen. And because they don't have the full financial decision-making abilities, losing it there. There you know exactly where you're at and you can progress from there. Yeah, and with that, what is your process? Who is involved? And there's a key prompt down the bottom. Are you serious about solving this issue? And it might not be how you term it in relationship to the products and things, but really, yeah, are you serious about giving this a good go, taking enough for your body where it's at, and committing to long enough is how I see myself saying this. And I probably, I reckon I have that in every time I put someone into the system, because I really don't like seeing people having unrealistic expectations around the most remarkable product I've ever seen, because something that they expect to happen hasn't happened in a couple of months. So you've got to manage those expectations and not create those expectations in someone and make it relative to them and their own journey. And I think the most duplicatable way of doing that is talking about the serving suggestion mantra and getting people to commit for 6 to 8 months. Right. So I've come to the end of that. So you could imagine, Mark, do you want to just flick up the blank grid? The blank grid just looks like that. So that's something, if in your own journey with connecting with people, if you just really feel like you need to collect your ideas and have some prompts in front of you so that you get enough information about someone, I recommend printing these out, having the prompts laminated, and then you can actually use this blank grid in order to collect information about people and keep that in their file. So I hope that potentially helps. As I say, it might not be a matter of taking on the whole thing, but there might just be parts of it that you can really see in your own journey would help you connect the dots. So I'm just going to open up for any comments from Ian Davies, and then we're going to do a little role play.
Yeah, well, Linda, that is lots of really, really good content to cover all the different angles and how people think their psychology, because to me, there's not really an objection. We just have to educate them to the value of this and what's going on and the benefit. And when we do that, then the objections all go away, in a realistic way, so they know what to expect.
Yes, exactly. And I think I just forgot there was another note I made that I was talking to Mark Anderson about this morning, and when he was looking at it, he said this must be really good for preventing buyer's remorse. So you might have had experiences where people they're all go, yep, I'm on that wellness pack, I'm on there for 6 months before we discuss any changes, sort of thing, and then I don't know, days, a week later or something, then they go into some of the kind of objections and doubt around, really, are they investing in something that is of high value, etc. And so the process helps prevent that as well. Any other comments in general, Ian?
Yeah, wonderful. And to me, the values off the chart, I find some people are slow responders, and there are some people who are fast responders, and there are some people you can run them over with a truck, and they may not feel that either. And for those people, I let them know, look, a lot of people get a weak heart muscle. They never felt it until the day they had a heart attack. And often when your body regenerates, it can be the same. And the most valuable thing we can do to keep our body healthy and strong so we don't get the heart attack or other things is stem cells more than anything else. And I just educate people, and a lot of people think, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I might Jan Laddie just put up a question here, which I think is kind of relevant to where we are in our discussion. So it says, Jan says, what if the blank sheet was slightly reworded so that it becomes a questionnaire that the prospect fills in for themselves? Would this increase the buying and their ownership? So in some ways, I know that I function very much how I function, and I'm a real people person, and part of my success is really the ability to connect with someone. So if I suddenly, hand someone a sheet of paper and says, just fill this out and work it out for yourself, I haven't got to listen to them, I haven't got to connect with them, and I haven't got to be able to ask some of the other questions from parts of the grid when it's relevant, so I can sit here and build the whole picture. And so you probably think I've probably got lots else to say about that, Jan, as well, around the fact that your sort of mind actually goes into just, wanting to turn it into a third-party resource rather than really letting it prompt you to build and create that connection, because there's some real mantras in this business, and there are things like fortunes in the follow-up, and it's all about the relationship. And the more that you can connect, hear and understand someone, well, there's the relationship, and it's a really rewarding way to be and turn up in the world. So I think Ian might have something to say about that.
No, absolutely. The greatest of all human needs to need to feel connected. And again, with that conversation with that fellow in Florida, I just connected to him as a human being. And he really got, I'm here to serve him. And whatever that means for him, that's what it means for me. I'm not trying to ram anything down his throat. But we have something so spectacular and special here, it cannot help but serve him. But at the same time, he knows my spirit is looking out for him. And when people feel that, they think, wow, this is so different. It's low pressure. And to me, everything flows into low pressure. High pressure pushes everything away. And to me, low pressure is where it's at.
The Ian Davies meteorological theory of sales. I like it. So next we're going to try a little bit of a role play between Ian Davies and I around the Success Team Accelerator sales grid. So we haven't actually practiced this. We just had a little conversation around how we thought it might go. So just be with us, and sometimes just in the example of it, can be helpful for people. So Ian, thanks for getting back to me. So I'm going to treat Ian as if he's someone, I've perhaps talked to, sent some information, etc. And we're just at a point of like getting to understand where he is at more, and possibly transitioning him into the system. So thanks for getting back to me, Ian. What is it that's kind of caught your attention around what I've sent you? I'll do some of the things. These are the words I use because I want to know, and Ian can come up with something.
Well, hello, Linda. I was just curious about your products because I need some help.
Yeah, for sure. So are there some things that you're particularly looking for help with?
Well, I've been a carpenter all my life, working very hard in Wales in the damp, cold climate, and been on my knees a lot. And I'm 60 next year, and I've got to make it to retirement. And my body's broken. My knees are gone. My hips gone. I've got arthritis in my hands. They're all bent over, and somehow I'm able to just about make it through the day working. And I'm really nervous. Can I make it through the next 10 years or so to retirement? Because my body's breaking down and broken down. I've tried all sorts of products and nothing's worked for me. Okay.
That sounds actually quite stressful. And I imagine some days are worse than others, Ian.
Yeah. In the cold and the damp, I have a lot of inflammation, and I kind of creak when I get out of bed. And it takes me a while to even start moving until I start becoming flexible enough even to get in the truck to go to work.
Yeah. And how are you finding your circulation in the cold? Are you getting, seen as in this role play, Ian's based in Wales? Are you getting chilblains or anything? Well, is it really severe in the winter?
I cold hands and cold feet, and it's very hard to warm up. I have lots of hot cups of tea all day to warm up, and a piece of cake, and I do that often just to warm myself up. And
cool. So
very good with me.
Yeah. So it sounds like your body's been overworked, and certainly the builders I know that it's pretty constant and hard work. There's lots of tools that can help you, but ultimately beams need lifting and positioning, and there's lots of that. So I can see and hear why, perhaps coming up to 60 with what we know about stem cells, and that your body requires stem cells every day to rebuild and repair. And once you're over the age of 25, that this migration rate really slows down. So I think that you've probably really picked up on that in some of the information that you've looked at, that this product line has a real point of difference compared to anything else that you've tried.
Well, I've taken an enormous amount of chondroitin and glucosamine and all sorts of stuff, MSM, and I've taken it for a long time, but it hasn't done anything for me. So can this be different?
So yes, it is different, because it's really working on a whole different mechanism, which is now how we really understand how our body rebuilds and repair. And the other really cool thing about the Stem Enhance Ultra product is it has other benefits. It's extremely nutritious. And what I also think might be a great benefit for you, Ian, particularly while you're going through those sort of many months of rebuilding your body, is that the product has a wonderful mood enhancer, and it just helps you feel like you can kind of cope. And also we know that the pigment in the product has a natural anti-inflammatory effect. So some people, if they start seeing changes in their discomfort quite quickly, it's often just these natural anti-inflammatory effects. So, you can look out for that on your journey. And then for some people, it's like they need to really see how they're going 6, 8, 10, 12 months down the track after giving their body lots of resources. So with all that going on, are there anything else that you're noticing with your body?
6, 8 months down the track, I was hoping I could just buy a bottle and try it.
Okay,
and,
so
if I see results, then I can maybe decide if I want to place another order.
Oh, cool. I think you're channeling Andy Goodwin, Ian Davies. Let's put Linda on the spot. So what Linda would say, she'd take a mouthful of water, and I would come back with that and just say, like, really, that's great to know that's your perspective, Ian, because actually it's really not relevant to this product, and it's really not relevant to how your body rebuilds and repairs yourself. You remember on that bit of video content I sent you off the funnel, it really talked about how, the stem cells are in the bone marrow, and they come out and they rebuild and repair the body. So, and that once you're over that age of 25, this repair rate really starts to slow down. So when you think about it, you've got quite a lot of time on the planet that you've been breathing oxygen, but you've also been working really quite hard. So do you sort of get a sense of really how much deterioration is probably built up in your body?
Yeah, I see. But can I just try a bottle and see if it works?
So what I found in my experience is one of the saddest things that people can do is actually just to purchase a bottle and see how they are at the end of the month. Because I know from my experience, what I've learned from the researchers about this product is that it's supporting a process that takes time. So I actually feel like I'd be doing you a really big disservice, because in a way I'm saying, here, Ian, buy this bottle from me and see how you're going in a month. And it's like I'm reinforcing this expectation that in a month's time you might be noticing differences, when I know from the people I've met, the people that I've helped, that really it's about getting these resources moving in your body day by day, week by week, month by month, and seeing where you are in 6 to 8 months' time. So all the recommendations really is to committing to taking a good amount of product relevant to yourself and how much you're going through and your body size, and really committing to taking to that long term.
Okay, so with that, I am in a bit of a pickle. My body's breaking down. How much is it going to cost me?
How much is it going to cost? So one of the things I just love about Sorul is they have these wellness pack options, and they come in a couple of price structures. So the price structures in Australia where you live is that you can get 3 bottles of product shipped directly to you on a regular monthly auto shipment purchase for $249. That includes shipment, and it gives you the product at a cheaper unit price per bottle. And that is the most commonly purchased pack within the company. And then for some people who might need a bit extra, and I'm suspecting that it might be really advisable, because we're coming into winter down under, is to add in a bottle a month of the circulation enhancer, because those chronic cold hands and feet that you're experiencing can be supported with a circulation enhancer. So the Wellness Pack Elite, as we call it, can ship you 4 bottles a month for $329. And I think that that would be a really great investment for you to realistically support your body over the next 8 months, and then we can kind of review it from there. And really at 8 months, you're going to have your own valuation of the product. You're going to have perhaps your own experience of the mood enhancement, etc. And it's going to be a very different position around making decisions than where you're at right now.
Okay, this is very logical. Okay, what do you need? Do you take Visa or MasterCard?
Exactly. We take both. So that's cool. So that's an example, and I guess it could go all sorts of ways. You know, Ian might have kind of just gone, actually, oh, I need to talk to Melanie about that, etc. But then we would just kind of follow through from there. Within himself, he's already getting his own understanding that this product has a point of difference to anything else that he's worked with, that someone's been kind of very real with him and sort of said, mate, you've knocked yourself around. You actually need to invest in helping your body catch its breath and supporting it from then on. That's, I guess, me sharing very much how I work with it. There is one time, where I might perhaps, sometimes I just give people a couple of weeks of product, and that's the odd person that's extremely sensitive and they've just spent a fortune on supplementation, and I guess they're very hopeful that something to do with mobilizing their own stem cells might help that. But they're just so overspending money on supplementation that I will, give or sell them a couple of weeks of product just to see if we can start, even just at a pinch, etc., for them to get their own confidence. But even when I'm doing that, I'm like, if this is proving something that your body can handle, this is something that I'll be asking you to commit to for in those cases, 12 months plus, so that their body can actually start catching its breath and getting some better foundations.
Wonderful. Well, Linda, this was so much fabulous information covering so many bases. Was there anything else you want to cover before we end up? We are way over half an hour.
Oh, we are, aren't we? Oh, it's such a big subject. And I know this morning Mark was talking about other things. I said, let's just kind of keep it at that, because it is a big subject. There's lots of amazing training out there. And if you're motivated around really becoming an effective messenger, following up, learning how to close, etc., go forth and find the answers. Rewatch this video and see what connects for you there. There's this is a book I often get people to read. It's called Master the Art of Selling. It's actually a real classic. And there's lots to be learned, and there's the most amazing couple of chapters on closing. So sometimes I just get people to read the chapters on closing because they're doing everything else right. They're just not asking for the sale. So it just gives lots of examples how to do it. And it is written by a real estate agent, but it's written in the context for anyone. I quite like the blurb on the back. If your job involves persuading others to invest their time, effort, or money in your product, service, or idea, this book was written just for you. There's merit in the saying, it's not what you say, but how you say it. Inside these pages are the selling strategies that will put you in front of people who can say yes to you. Even better, you'll learn exactly what to say and how to say it to help them make buying decisions, etc. So if you're out there kind of going, what's the next book I need to read? This might be a sign. It's available on Amazon. And I think every book that's out there on personal development and sales, there's always some magic gems that can add to your life within the pages. And it's about dedicating yourself to that reading and moving forward. And I know Cherry Mertens at the moment is currently chewing her way through my library, and I'm really proud of her. She's, one of the books I got her to read is called The Slight Edge, and The Slight Edge just talks about mastering the mundane, some of the aspects of this business that aren't so as exciting as getting people in the system and that, but actually, yeah, the follow-up, etc. And one of the things that she's seen that she can really master is a commitment to personal development and reading 10 pages a day. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to get to the year, and how much are you going to have digested, rather than kind of going, I need this much time. You don't. You just need to take chunks. And I see that about this business. It's lots of chunks and being consistent.
Beautiful. Well, Linda Hoggard, you are such a valuable gem. Thank you for sharing your heart and soul. And thank you all around the world for being with us. And we will be back the same time, same place in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.